Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of The Chat. Today I have a special guest. It's Dawn Fuchs, like books, but I can't say it.
It's Fuchs.
Fuchs. Fuchs.
That's okay, Kerri.
Okay, and she is president of Weavertown Environmental, which is a local company here that does all kinds of environmental and industrial services. So welcome. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks, Kerri. Thanks for asking me.
All right, you're welcome. All right, now tell me what you guys do. Like, what is the basis of what your company does?
Well, the basis of our company is 24/7, 365. So we are like equivalent to a fire department or a 911 call center. People call into Weavertown all hours of the day and night to respond to an emergency. An emergency can range to a plant fire involving possibly fatalities, all the way down to a tractor-trailer incident along the highway involving, again, cars, tractor-trailers, chemicals, release, and we're called to come in and mediate it, clean it up, make it go away.
Is there somebody at the office 24/7, or is there like certain people who are on call like doctors?
No, we have a live voice. We have not an answering service, it's our own employees. And they have work functions that they do, so that it's just not about being there to answer the phone.
Right.
So they're doing things throughout the night, and if the phone rings, that's the number one thing they drop and run to the phone.
How many
Weavertown, how can I
employees?
help you? We have over 200 employees, and we cover 5 states with offices. But we go all throughout the U.S. and Canada every day.
Wow. Okay, yeah, because I love this. You have a toll-free number manned around the clock, and then the other thing was, how many people are like scientists, geologists?
Well, you have
So
to.
you're surrounded like really smart people.
Absolutely. and I
And
just
that's a
try to
good
bring
business
it all
for people
together.
to go into. Wouldn't you say this is a booming business, environmental issues?
Environmental issues is a booming business, but what happens is a business can't survive just waiting for that phone to ring, because you have to provide everyday work. So we do everyday tank cleaning work, remediation projects, transportation and disposal, and that's what keeps us available around the clock for an emergency. So for somebody to wake up and say, hey, this is a great startup idea, it's really not a venture they should get into, because the capital investment to the amount of clients that are out there, it's already being serviced.
Okay, and you are a woman president.
Yes, I am.
A young woman president, a mother.
Yes.
Okay.
Single working mother.
And how hard is that?
It's easy, Kerri.
No problem.
You know what? I build myself around a lot of good people. And for anybody to say it takes just them, it's not. It starts with somebody, like my father founded our company.
In 1981?
In 1981. I took it over 6 years ago. And I have a straight team. I have a great team. And, it's all about my team.
Right, it's the support.
Absolutely.
Behind you.
But at the end of the day,
but they need a leader.
And I have to make the decisions. Sometimes they're not pretty ones, but I make them, because I think that's what makes you successful at the end of the day.
Yeah, somebody has
Terminations and what have you, it stops with me.
Why did your dad start this company?
He saw a need. He was a transporter. He hauled hazardous materials.
Like what?
Toluenes, xylenes, waste byproducts out of the auto industry. He was really big at General Motors and Ford in the early heyday. And now we're big into power plant work, oil and gas industry, and oil and gas is booming.
Right.
When you got the crude oil barrel at $97 a barrel, I mean, we're entering we can get into an economy topic next.
Okay, good.
Economy where, at $97 a barrel, I mean, I think people are really going to be taxed and stretched.
Oh, absolutely.
The heating oil clients that we service, I feel sorry for them, Everybody's paycheck to paycheck today. Fuel prices are over $2 a gallon. I mean, it's tough.
So he saw a need in this, and was he ever worried about, transporting all those toxic things for himself?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're bonded.
Whenever I see one like on the freeway, and I think aren't they by law they have to say this is a toxic?
Oh, it's
and they
all
have a number?
placarded. Yeah, it's placarded materials.
Oh, I just love she knows all the little words, all those it's placarded.
Yes. Well, regulations that's how they know. And when they come on scene, the emergency management people go right to the placard, see what it is, and then
what if
go
it's
from
burned
there.
up and gone?
Well, a lot of times it does burn up and go into the atmosphere. It's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whenever I'm driving on the freeway and I see like that, I'm like, okay, I am like hauling ass and, oh, excuse me, getting out of there, because I don't want to be next to them. You know, I want to just get past them and go beyond them, because I don't want, if, in case somebody does hit them or they hit somebody or they fall asleep, I want to get on by and be ahead of the spill, you know?
Well, absolutely. And drivers, you know, I admire our drivers. Obviously, the engineers, the chemists, and all that is very important. But a tractor, trailer, true over-the-road driver, you have to have respect for them, because they're hauling product. It could be in upwards of $500,000, $1 million. I mean, they have a lot of responsibility. And I find that drivers in a vehicle aren't looking at it from that perspective. So they're cutting these people off. The weight of those tractors and trailers with that volume of liquid in there, that's what happens. I mean, it's not always the driver of the tractor that has the problem. It's the car that cuts them off and isn't looking.
And then they've got so much weight and inertia
Absolutely.
going towards them, they can't stop.
Absolutely. So that's who you have to really
So be
commend.
nice to them out there.
Absolutely. Be courtesy.
Yeah, and get past them and get away from them. That's what
Yeah.
I say. I don't even want to be around them. So,
But don't have a road rage incident with the placard and truck.
Right, because you're going to lose, right? We're going to lose. Okay, now, this is one thing I thought. Do you know this dust suppressant thing you have? It says it's for horse arenas and stuff, and since I have a horse, I always think about that. But is this something they sprinkle on?
They sprinkle on. We have a product called Coherix, but it's a dust suppressant. It holds down dust, and so you can use it in construction sites. And it's expensive though. So when your horse arena, you may want to call me for a price, and I'll give you a quote.
Well, you know what they do? Just something I noticed is that, like, sometimes they'll just ride the truck through and they'll drop like little bits of oil, things that are soaked in oil. Well, then they, decided. Well, some of the horses started getting coughs.
Yeah, you don't really want that on your hoofs.
But it's cheap.
Yeah.
Right, so that's what they do, right? So when I saw this, I thought, oh, I wonder if this is something that's used probably in the horse racing industry and stuff.
No, we really don't. We're more on the construction side. Everything Weavertown really does is really in the industrial application.
Okay.
So we're like, if there's a big construction site along a highway, obviously people don't want dust on their cars and things, so they have to use materials like a Coherix or bonding agent to hold the dust down.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
So when you look through my website, so much of it's around, again, industrial client base.
Right,
That's what you really go after.
Right. Okay, and so now, this air quality, I was looking at this air quality because last time I did a thing on how polluted stuff was, and I know that you can't talk a lot about that because your clients...
Confidentiality is number one in our company.
Right, and I understand that, but where does most of the stuff come from, the air quality stuff? Like if you have bad air quality stuff, how can they catch that? It says air quality services. How do you
measure it? There's meters and devices that will measure your NOx and SOx emissions into the atmosphere.
NOx and SOx. I love it.
And so they have to stay in compliance with their air quality permit.
And if they're not, they have to call you. Or somebody...
Well, no, we're actually monitoring to make sure they stay in compliance. In that business, that's not an emergency.
Right,
And
that's keeping them...
in compliance.
Right.
So then they may have maybe a possible leak. We do leak detection and repair service. So that's all around Title V, and you're getting into source monitoring. We do that. So we're Weavertown, when you call us, we're a one-stop shop. We cover it all. So from air to underground to above ground contaminants, we can tell a client what they have, what their problems are, and how to mediate it, how to remedy it.
And what if I'm just a homeowner that I think, well, maybe my house has asbestos in it from a long time ago? How do I know?
You could call us to come in, and we can give you a price and look at your shingling, look at your flooring to see if you do have asbestos tiles. And then I have to say, again, we stick to the commercial application, because when you get into homeowners, everybody's really personal about their home, and you send a bunch of guys, and we make sure all the precautions are there. We cover our boots, and we make sure we're very neat and tidy about our business. So we don't really get into asbestos removal at a homeowner level. We get into larger asbestos abatement projects.
Like a big manufacturing
like a
plant.
Yes, a plant that under a brownfield cleanup, they're going to be leaving and coming into another site, really turning that site into something else. We get into larger projects. But there are companies that do a lot of residential work.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm sure that, I know when I was working at Lockheed, they would always tell us, okay, this building is this old and it's got lead in it.
Exactly. There's just certain products
And
that,
you had the
depending on
sign
the
saying
age.
you're probably going to be exposed to this and there's nothing we can do about it. You're working, you want a job?
Right.
Here, sign here that it's okay if you.
But if you're protected properly, and that's what we pride ourselves at Weavertown, it's all about personal protection. If you take the precautions, you could work within a hazardous material environment every day and be safe. It's when you start taking shortcuts that it becomes dangerous.
Do the guys come in looking like those moon guys, like in E.T.?
Oh, yeah, we do a lot of level A application work.
Level A?
Level A is you're under total breathing supplied air. So you're totally self-contained, like an astronaut would be. So it's pretty amazing stuff. And they're healthy guys. I mean, these guys, I put them up against anybody. I mean, they're just hardworking, passionate about what they do. The client gets great service, like when they call Weavertown, and that's why we're not the cheapest guy on the block, and we don't want to be.
You want to be the best.
We want to be the best, and we are.
And the guys who come out in the suits, like what typically are they? Are they a certain type of scientist, or are they an engineer?
The engineer writes the guidelines for them to follow.
But
and
what are
there's
they
a labor. It's a technician.
A technician.
A technician.
And so he goes in, and then the engineer has told him, all right, don't touch this,
Exactly.
or if you touch it, do it this way.
And then when they come out, they're deconned,
Scrubbed down.
decontaminated. They're scrubbed down, and it's a big process.
Oh,
And it's hot. These guys are hot under there. It is not easy. So they might only get true 15-minute intervals of actual hardcore work. But it takes them a half hour, 40 minutes to get ready to go in. So that's their hour. I mean, they need a break. They come out there sweating. I mean, it's not easy what we do. It's not easy work.
And what about
somebody has to do it? It's all about our environment, right?
Right. Yeah, there was a terrible show this morning on the Today Show about just how there's a beach in Hawaii that is absolutely now the sand is all plastic particles. The whole thing, he scooped it up. It was just particles of plastic because it's just been beaten down and crushed, and there's no more sand. It's just all
plastic.
All of our trash that lasts forever. Yeah, I was like, whoa. I mean, everybody's on this real big green movement too.
The big green movement is big. Think green, Bill Green, the
Right.
convention center, green building.
Right.
Pittsburgh was really on the leading edge of a lot of that.
Even though it's, I wouldn't walk in there because I'd be afraid I'd fall through the roof or something. I mean, there's been a lot of funny things like that happen there. I wanted to go to a car show there, and I thought, no, maybe not.
Actually, though, they fix those things.
They
in
did?
construction,
You trust that they did.
Yes, I've been back to the convention center.
Wow.
I would go there and support it.
Okay, well, that's good. All right, now tell me
you'll
what.
get out okay, Kerri.
I'll be hanging and
Yeah,
swinging.
You figure your way out, I'm sure.
Okay, now I kept seeing this thing called Sarah, and so then I finally, is it something called? It's something you have to follow. Oh, the Superfund Amendment and Reauthorization Act. So is that something that you have to follow too? Is it?
Our clients follow it. I mean,
Your clients follow
Yeah,
it.
because we're not
And
a
you help.
generator. Weavertown is not a generator of materials. We're going to people that are the generator of the material. So under Sarah Title III, they have to file reports, and we help our clients with that activity.
And
We're not a generator of material, Weavertown.
Right, you clean up the.
We clean up someone
problems.
else's, and we do handle the disposal. And we are able to hold non-hazardous materials under a permit that we have, that then we send off for shipment. But
What's like one of the most toxic things that's on the road that's like liquid, like, that would spill?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, I'd have to get one of my chemists to answer that question, because from your gasolines to your xylenes, toluenes, that's all hazardous.
Okay, so when you
Benzene.
And okay, so let's say there's a benzene spill, and you guys come out there to clean it up. When you pick it up or whatever you do to soak it up and get it, where does it go? Where does it go and get stored or put away?
They will go to multiple sources. If it's contaminated soil and it's hazardous, it's actually going out of the States into Canada to some degree.
Really?
Yeah.
And then what do they do? Bury it after
It's
they
a
treat
landfill.
it? Does it change it? Before they put it in the landfill, do they change it to something that's less toxic?
No, it's going into a hazardous cell. It's going into a cell that has been lined multiple times to basically encapsulate. any type of, possible leakage or air vapors. And then they have sparging systems put in place and what have you.
What's that? Sparging systems. I think I want one of those.
No, I don't. You don't want one at your house.
I don't? Oh, okay.
No, it's like they're flaring off gases. If gases were to build up in a cell or anything, there's things that they'll put in place.
We used to have those in California. Like on one corner, there'd be a whole place that was just dirt now on a corner, and then there'd be this one pipe coming up, and it would like
flare off.
Flare off everyone. And you wonder what the heck is that?
But it's burping.
It's burping. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I mean, truly. I think that's amazing. Okay, so is there one industry that creates the most emergencies? Like, is there, or is it just?
No, it's really interesting. That's we may have several, 100 cleanups a year, and then they're into the thousands. I mean, it just really ranges day to day. You don't know. Pittsburgh hasn't had a really large release for some time, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Some would say the area is due for something, but you just don't know. It's
or maybe we're doing something right.
Right. People are better trained. People are minimizing their waste material generation. There's a lot of things that are positive going on in the environmental cleanup industry.
That's good.
They're buying. They're not over inventorying. They're using what they're buying. So yeah, you're seeing a lot of reduction in recycling and what have you.
Oh,
I mean, I think there's a lot of good things happening in the environment, but the one thing is that won't be eliminated is human error at a plant. It's going to happen. There's going to be an emergency, and there's companies out there like ourselves that can respond. But obviously, we want people to call Weavertown.
No. Okay, so if like I wanted to ask you what was the industry that polluted the most, you wouldn't be able to tell me that.
I really couldn't. I mean, some people might say, depending on what side of the fence you're on, somebody might say it's
public record.
Public record, oil and gas, or maybe it's it's hard to.
But because you're the service industry, it's just like, it reminds me of the movie Erin Brockovich.
Yeah.
Where she had to sneak in and go do all this stuff because they weren't telling the truth.
Well, I don't think it's that they're not telling the truth. Regulations are there to make sure these people stay compliant. And your petroleum industries, your oil and gas, your power plants, they are staying in compliance. And it's just like incinerators. People don't want it in their backyard, but it has to go somewhere. And if you want it handled properly, you need to have waste incinerators, like a waste WTI in East Liverpool, Ohio. I remember all the stars came in whenever they got permitted in East Liverpool for that location. And they were saying, hey, you can't put it here. Well, they did, and it's a fine facility. They haven't had the big emergencies everybody said was going to happen down there. Mm-hmm. And there's a place to go to treat the material properly. That's the big thing. Illegal polluters is what the issues were. It's not your big industries.
People who just dump stuff.
Absolutely, just
anywhere,
dump stuff.
Or
right.
pour it in, a river.
Exactly.
Isn't that terrible? Yeah. Well. Okay, and then you sent me. How do you find being a woman president? Is it easy to do?
I don't have a problem with it. I
don't?
Really don't. No, I don't. I think it's the best person for the job, male or female. And are we going to break the glass ceilings? I hope so. I'm proud to see a woman possibly in the presidential ballot. I think that's exciting times.
But not Hillary Clinton. Sorry. Oh, did I say that?
So no, but I think this is exciting times for the United States.
No, I do too. But how do you balance being a president and having kids in school? I know you have a lot of. You have to have the support and everything, but.
Ask my kids, they would tell you it stinks.
Screaming?
They would say, this woman president is for the birds.
Really? And that's been in the last 6 years. So,
yeah.
And has it got, progressively a little worse? I mean, your time has gotten more and more,
You just get more and more busy, more and more. I sit on a few boards. I'm very active. If I take something on, I do it to the umpteenth degree. Do they suffer from it? I'd like to think they benefit from it. They just don't see that benefit yet.
Right now, right.
Yeah, I believe they will. I believe over time my kids have become good negotiators. They hear me on the phone. I listen to them. I try some, not techniques out on them. I mean, I'm with them all the time. They're my toughest negotiators. I'm like, wow, this is good stuff.
Good debate.
So I think that they're going to ultimately appreciate it. But right now, it's just a struggle. I have a full-time nanny, and she gets them to the ball games, but I get to the ball game. I might be 10 minutes late, but hey, I'm there in the stands. So I think it's all a trade-off. You know, my daughter played basketball last night. Game started at 7. I got there at 7:15. You know.
And do you love your job?
Love my job. I'm passionate about it.
See, and I think that's a big thing, too.
I am passionate about what I do, and I think my people are passionate. I just think we breed passion in our company. We were one of the best places to work in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, those are hard accolades to get because all presidents think they're doing a good job, but do your people think you're doing a good job? That's the key. And I'm proud of what we're doing.
Do you think you got the job just because it was your dad's company?
Oh, absolutely not.
No?
No. Donald, oh my God, Kerri, if he was here, he would tell you it's the best person for the job, not the last name. When we come to work, it's not about our last name when we walk through that door. And
but usually that doesn't happen. Well, I mean, sometimes in family businesses, they just give it to one of the children because it's just what they
not
should
in this
do.
family business. Donald Fuchs is not that kind of a guy.
No.
He's a no-nonsense.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have 2 older sisters. I'm the youngest of 3 daughters.
Are they involved in the company?
One is not. And so no, absolutely not. That is not how I got this job.
But you just, when you grew up in it, like, did you listen to your father and him negotiating and stuff, and you got into it?
No, you know what? I was a stockbroker in Arizona.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I was. That's what I was doing before I joined the company. And he kept calling me in Arizona and saying, hey, you know, I'm really building a nice business here. I can use your help. And I said, you know what? I'm really having fun trading stocks and bonds, and I'm enjoying my life out here. I really liked it.
You did.
And then Black Monday happened, and you have to manage a lot of money to be really successful. And I like success. I like a successful P&L. You know, when you're a broker, you're guaranteeing somebody else's P&L numbers. You know, I lost a few, dollars for some people. I didn't really sit well with me. So I did move back, joined the company, started from the bottom up. And
what'd you come in as? What was your?
I came in as a field desk clerk.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I went in from the field desk clerk into the receptionist and on up to transportation, the disposal department, the compliance department. That's how I came in. And then I went into sales.
I always think, though, that the presidents who've come up that way seem to be the best because they know every little nook and cranny of the business. Where someone who's just been appointed to come in, sometimes, maybe they can run a business very well and they know all the book smart stuff, but they don't know how the mailroom works and the problems that are going on there that eventually do affect.
It does. It all starts out of the mailroom.
Yeah, I mean, so, but a lot of people don't, think about that. They just say, oh, I can run a company.
My assistant opens our mail. I want to know what's coming in because the mail is where you can tell the stories. How the checks are coming in or the creditors are calling. And I want to know.
Oh, my gosh. So how long did it take you to work up from file clerk to
the president? 18 years.
Wow.
18 years.
Okay, so that's good, though. That makes me feel like that you did come up through the grunt process.
Well, I've been president 6 years, so 18, less 6, so that's when. So I've been there a long time, and I love what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing it.
What does your sister do?
She's in the accounting and finance department. You can't let that checkbook too far from the family because...
That's a good point.
It is a good point. I mean, you just need to make sure that everything's checks and balances are there.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. All right.
So we're real proud of what we're doing.
Yeah, I was, I was shocked at how much stuff you
And we
do.
even tow cars, so don't forget, if you need me in the middle of the
If
night,
I need
Kerri,
a tow?
If you need a tow, we'll come and
call
tow you.
I'm really into the fuel oil because that's what the farmhouse.
Yeah, and the fuel oil also.
See, and I never even knew about that till
Yeah, until you got online.
Well, no, until I moved to from California here. I was like, why is there a tank in here? What is that? Why is that? That needs to go. That's how the house gets heated,
And it's a nice heat. See, right away, people
is.
think it's dirty. Does your house have extra dust? Don't people ask you this when you say you have heating oil?
Yeah, but it's I think it's a moisture heat. Like
It
it's just
is.
different.
It is a different, and it's consistent.
Yeah, and
It's not like a forced air system where it's on for 15 and off. I mean, it's nice.
And then you're always like dried out. Like, I'm dried out right now just from kicking on the heat,
Yeah.
Well, because that's in the other house, but you know, other than that. So so you have geologists there too.
Yes.
So like if
We have to have geologists on staff because of the soil contaminants, and they send it out to labs to find out what's all going on in the dirt.
are there labs here or are they most?
Yeah, no, they're here.
all
like,
over.
Yeah.
And where do you do your most business? Because if you do it in all these different states, what state like really is Pennsylvania one of your biggest states, or is Kentucky the biggest state?
Kentucky's really coming on nice. Kentucky's got big refineries where we don't see that here.
What do they refine? Oil?
Petroleum, yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. And
And
that's new.
so, no, we've had the Kentucky office for like 6 years, and I put a woman down there, not that I'm promoting women, meaning I put a woman leader down there that has really turned an office that was quasi-stagnant into lifeblood and just rocking and rolling. It's just tremendous.
Now, do you have to travel to all these different
Yes, I
places
do.
all the time?
Not all the time. I have a general manager. It's myself and my GM. Him or I are hitting the locations on a regular basis.
Making sure everything's going good.
We're getting there.
Thanks. 2 minutes.
Yeah,
That's all.
but the time just flies, Kerri.
I know,
You make
doesn't
it so
it?
much fun.
Oh,
And maybe
okay.
I should be the other cable girl. If you're looking
Yeah.
for, I'm looking for
You got
extra
time?
stuff.
Yeah. You've got plenty of time. Okay, now, are you guys doing a lot of mold remediation? Is it because you know it's so big in the news?
Well, it's because of all the flooding too that happened. Anytime you have a lot of water, will generate a lot of mold quickly.
And so, do you guys do that?
Yeah, we do mold remediation. Yes, we do. And again, at a homeowner level, it just becomes really complicated with the insurance and you're too much money. A homeowner thinks, no disrespect to homeowners, you know, times are tight, money's tight, so every extra $1,000 sounds like a lot of money. But if you want a job done right, or do you want it done, you know, not so accurate, and those are the differences.
Yeah.
But mold's nothing to play around with. If you see signs of mold,
Black
you need
mold.
to take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to, you know, again, I'm not putting the fear in anybody, meaning if you have a little bit of mold, I mean, but you need to take care of getting it looked at.
Right.
So you
Right.
see a lot of that activity after flooding.
Right. Okay. Well, and here's one little point I want to make on a lighter note.
Okay.
Somebody came into Trax Farm the other day, and she said to me, she goes, "Oh, are you that girl on the cable?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "You know, you're like really small. You're kind of," and I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She goes, "You look huge on TV." I'm like, "Thank you." She goes, "No, I'm just so shocked at how little you are." And I thought, so I just want everybody to know that we are very small. And we look very good in person. It's just the TV.
I hope so. In other words, Kerri doesn't want me to watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will. Well, I never will watch it because I just go, "Oh God, is that what I look like? Oh my gosh, that's awful. That's almost scary, you know." But I thought, how funny though that that's probably why a lot of people don't recognize me sometimes, you know, because she goes, "You know, it kind of took me a minute to recognize you because she bought something, and so I was checking her out, you know."
Well, that's so amazing, Kerri, because I find you very attractive and very beautiful.
Well, and I find you very attractive, beautiful skin, petite, great. All right. Well, thanks again for coming
Well,
in.
thanks, Kerri, for the invite. Anytime.
Anytime. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys on a next edition, and we'll see what we'll go into. I'll see what I go into next time. So, all right. I'll talk to you later. Is it over?
Bye-bye.
Bye.